How to deal with the tension between furloughed and non-furloughed employees. This is a question that I'm being asked quite a lot by my clients or those watching the Organisational Debt series. With the economy opening up, many companies have started welcoming back furloughed employees. With governments around the world announcing the end of the furlough scheme, more companies are also thinking about what they need to do to welcome back furloughed employees and making sure that they can recreate the community and the team spirit that they had before asking people to go on furlough. Before we jump onto this topic and me sharing my 2 cents, 2 things. First one, if you've been enjoying the Organisational Debt series so far, I suggest that you subscribe and like this channel and turn on the notifications so that you know when new videos are coming back as part of the series. Second thing, when we look at welcoming back furloughed employees, I would suggest that you spend some time thinking about an onboarding process, right? Not just in isolation, just what to do with the team, but really think about the fact that those going on furlough will have a lot of questions when they come back. And the more you can create an onboarding process, however small it is, but at least there is something there, then you will help maximize the chances of those on furlough coming back and being really productive, and both teams, those on furlough and non-furlough, kind of working well together. This video is not going to talk a lot about that, so I wrote a blog on that, because I'm sure people will start thinking about, what about targets and goals and KPIs and anything else that we need to do. So please feel free to read my blog on this topic. And if you have any question, then find me on social media, comment on this video, or send me an email, and I'll be more than happy to share more information with you on that as well. Now, back to the topic of today's video. One of the reasons why some people are concerned about bringing back furloughed employees is, I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but there's been instances of what's been called furlough shaming, right? You can see this was talked about in the media and also on social media. There's the fact that some people that continued working, so non-furloughed employees, will comment on social media posts created by those on furlough, especially posts of some people being on holiday or enjoying themselves, and kind of, messages that discourage them from just enjoying their lives, really enjoy the situation. And it's kind of like, oh, well, we're here working really hard whilst you're out there enjoying yourself, and things like that. And which for some people, especially some people who have been furloughed, have kind of felt a sense of guilt. The second thing that, the second reason why I think is really important to look into that is to think about the team spirit. For those familiar with the Tuckman model, you know that even if you've managed to move your team all the way to the performing stage, you don't just sit there, and the team doesn't sit at the performing stage forever. There will be external factors, people leaving the team, people joining the team, different challenges that they have to overcome will move the team back to a previous stage of the Tuckman model. As such, it's always a good idea, especially when there is a disruption within the team, to kind of look and pay attention of the team dynamic so that you can move forward in a much stronger position. A team that works well and works well together will deliver more results and will be more productive. So one thing to also to mention as well is that, especially for those watching this and might have some kind of negative feelings towards those who are on furlough just because they had the time to enjoy themselves, like many people keep on saying, is the fact that the furlough scheme was introduced by the government, and the decision of who goes on furlough, who stays, were actually made by companies. Therefore, I would challenge the assumption, or challenge the reasoning that people have when it comes to the frustration directed to other colleagues and to other employees as well. Now, from an organizational perspective, what can you do to bring back your team together? I would suggest having a honest discussion. So I have a workshop, obviously make sure that there's a good facilitator that can help people talk about it. And even if you're thinking, oh, well, I haven't heard anything negative being said by anyone that stayed, any non-furloughed employees, I would still suggest that you organize some kind of workshop and open up the floor to a discussion between people on both sides so that they can start sharing assumptions. Some of the feelings that we feel as human beings come from what we're thinking about and the assumption that we make about people on the other side. And also because of the way we relate and we relate with other people as well. So as part of the workshop, one thing that would be really good to do for people to really start talking about their situation. So you will have people on the furlough side that maybe didn't actually enjoy it as much as you think they did, right? They probably at home, they didn't have the normal routine. Some people love routine. Some people love coming to work and knowing what they're going to do. And now this big change has really changed the way they're thinking, they're feeling. For weeks, you wake up in the morning and you don't actually go to work. And that also has impacted certain people. There's the fact that when you're at home, you lose the connection with all your colleagues. Yes, we're working remotely. Some people are struggling with that. But it's even more so when you are not in the day-to-day of what's going on in the company. You don't know whether your job is safe, and you don't really know what's going to happen to you as well. So that might cause some nervousness as well. And there are other things, other concerns that people might have as well. So you've been on furlough for so long, and your job might have been looked at by someone else or not. But the concern is when you go back, what is going to be the situation? Do you have to go back and kind of change the work that someone else did because they didn't do it to your standards? Or are you going to go back to a mountain of work because nothing was done for a while? So there is a lot of anxiety and a lot of issues that people on the furlough side have been feeling as well, that you might not know about, you might not be aware of, because your assumptions are not based, you're not looking at the situation from their eyes or from their perspective. On the other side, when you look at people not on furlough, they could also have had a lot of issues. So some people will say, oh, it's great to be able to work whilst I'm stuck at home. Well, some people might have struggled with the fact that they have to work when they've lost some of their colleagues. Some people have struggled because they don't have the same routine as well. For example, if it was someone that they used to speak to for virtual coffees and stuff like that, and they're not around, so it does affect the morale as well. Some people might have to work longer hours to be able to compensate for the fact that we don't have the full team. And some people might have felt a little bit anxious about helping things take over in areas that they are not maintaining or they are not looking after because the people working on those areas are on furlough as well. As you can see, those already shows you different perspectives that people might not think about when looking or judging people on the other side. The second thing to talk about as well whilst during that workshop will be the fun side, or any positive or any act of gratitude, right? In every problems or in anything that happens, I love encouraging people to look at the silver lining and any positive that you can take from that and share it with others to invigorate the team. So for those on furlough, there have been people who enjoyed learning new skills, enjoyed the freedom to start thinking about their career, their future, enjoyed the time to connect with their families in a way that they might not have done before. Then share it with others so that others can appreciate your journey as well. And those at work might have also enjoyed the fact that they might have looked at different areas that were not the areas to work on. Talk about that as well. And anything that you can share can really unite the team. And if you have any nice pictures, why not, right? Just create a Slack channel and put it in there. Get your people talking really about the assumptions and the fun side. The third thing to talk about in those sessions are vulnerabilities. The reason why I talk about that is the more we open up as individuals, the more we talk about our experience and the problem that we have, it really helps others to empathize with us. And when people empathize with us, it's a little bit easier as well for them to walk a mile in our shoes, understand our situation, change their assumption, change their frustration, and forgive whatever they need to forgive and move on and really go back to being close to us. And, there's so many people, especially those on furlough, although they know that the company had to make some people furlough for whatever reason, you might have had concern that the reason why you were chosen was because of performance, even if it might not have been the case. But that's a bit of an anxiety that you had to carry for a while. And those, again, on the side that were non-furloughed, you might have had some anxiety. Although you are working, you're probably still worried about your job not being safe or whatever it is. talk about things that that you've enjoyed, as I've said before, but also talk about things that concerns you. So that first of all, you can start sharing tips and ideas as well on how to help each other as a team. Because I believe that as a team, if you can also help each other on a way that goes a long way towards your well-being, why not do that as well? And the final thing to do in the workshop is to start thinking about, now what? We're here. We've talked about the assumption. We've challenged the assumption that we had on both sides. We challenged potential tensions by listening to each other, see each other through other people's eyes and perspectives. We laughed at the beautiful stories stories of gratitude, of stories of what went well, what we've learned. And we've also shared some aspect of vulnerabilities as well, some of our concern. And we've heard the concern from our colleagues and what worries them. And we're thinking about what we can do next, right? So take a moment to think about, what do you need as a team? What do you need to change, whether it's policies or processes, the way you work? What is it that you need to be able to go back to working well? This will also be a good way of updating those on furlough for any changes within the team that is really important for them, so that they can come back and slot back in the team as well. I hope that this was useful and that you'll take some time to really think about how to organize such a session for your team. I highly recommend that these aspects of creating some kind of workshop or discussions between the team really form part of your onboarding plan for welcoming back furloughed employees. And as I've said before, if you wanted more information on what else you need to do to welcome back furloughed employees, then please have a look on my blog, on my website. And if you have any question at all about what you need to do or how to structure such a workshop to address the tension and create a conversation between the furloughed and non-furloughed employees, feel free to reach out to me. I do work as well as a facilitator, and I help organizations put together those kind of sessions as well. And if you just wanted advice, I'm happy to oblige. So check me out on social media, my website, whatever you can find me. And don't forget, like and subscribe to find out more about the Organization That series. Thank you for watching.